I will tell you my timeline as it pertains to the breaking news, and then we could take it from there. Saturday night, we found out. Well, we didn't find out. We saw the UFC posted a video for a promo for UFC 303. That's the next pay-per-view. That's Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler on June 29th in Las Vegas. Pretty solid promo. Good stuff. Interest is building. Late Sunday morning, I got word that the press conference, which was scheduled for today at noon Eastern, 5 in Dublin, the press conference, by the way, which was slated to be held at the 3 Arena in Dublin, the press conference, by the way, which was not a paid ticketed event, but was a ticketed event, meaning you had to sign up in advance in order to attend the press conference, and you had to get a ticket. No payment required, but you still had to have a ticket to attend. I was told was quote unquote sold out. No tickets left. Approximately 10,000 people were expected to show up. 10,000. Think of that for a press conference. Absurd. No one on the planet, no one in combat sports can draw a crowd like that. I don't even know how many people in sports can draw a crowd like that on their own. And this was the Conor McGregor show. But like I said last week, Chandler, the perfect dance partner for something like this because he was going to thrive and relish being in that bad guy role. And so it was such a hot ticket that eventually stories came out that on the secondary market, people were actually selling the free tickets because people were desperate to attend. Craziness. Anyway, I find out late yesterday morning that the press conference is in jeopardy. Now, I will say that I wasn't given a reason. So, you kind of wait to see how it all plays out. Then a couple hours later, I find out the press conference is canceled. My first question was, is Michael Chandler in Dublin? Because if so, that really sucks. If so, if this fight is still good to go, and let's assume, and this is me in that moment, this dude just flew from either Nashville or Florida to Dublin, and he's going to do nothing with, 4 weeks to go. I was told he was just about to go to the airport. He was just about to go to the airport and was in Nashville, was about to go to Dublin, got the word that it was on ice, that it wasn't looking good, chilled for a minute, got the word it was canceled, and then went back to train in Florida. So if you're a Michael Chandler fan and you were worried that he just wasted a lot of time traveling across the pond, have no fear, that didn't happen. And so, all right, if you're wondering why I personally didn't report it yesterday, this is the game that we play, and this has been, the case to varying degrees throughout my entire career. When someone says you can't report it, you have to, as much as you want to put it out there, as much as it's eventually going to come out there, you have to respect those wishes, and you have to keep it under your hat. And so that I did, and was wondering at some point, maybe in the middle of the night, our time, if it would come out. And lo and behold, I ended up waking up at around 5 o'clock, and I saw that I think it was around midnight our time, 5 a.m. local time, the UFC put out on all its social media channels that the press conference had been postponed. The official language was essentially the UFC 303 Dublin press conference postponed until further notice. That's it. It's always tricky when you get into the whole postponed, canceled game. What is postponed? What is canceled? I never really know. Like, is Jake Paul, Mike Tyson postponed or canceled? Well, the date of July 20th is canceled, right? They're not having a fight on that day. But if they do fight at a later day, does that mean that the event was just postponed? I don't really know. And so in this particular case, like, they're not having a press conference today. So the press conference scheduled for June 3rd, 2024 is not happening. To me, that's a cancellation. But if it happens at a later day, I guess in retrospect, the whole thing was just postponed to a later day. It's all semantics, but there is no press conference happening today. And there isn't one scheduled for tomorrow or the next day. And as of right this moment, I don't know. It is unclear to everyone involved if there is going to be a press conference in Dublin leading up to the next Conor McGregor fight. Okay. Here's what I do know. Here is what I can tell you. I am seeing, obviously, a lot of speculation online as to why it was postponed. The UFC has not said anything. Chandler put out, somewhat of a vague, cryptic tweet, and nothing from Conor McGregor or his team. And I see a lot of people wondering what it could be. I could tell you right now with 100% certainty, confirmed 1000%, that nothing with regards to any sort of legal issue, incident of any kind, drama of any kind, criminal thing of any kind, fight of any kind, alcohol, this, that, like none of that is at play here. There is no salacious story. There is no, there's no great drama. There's no great theater. There's no story. There's nothing going to come out. There's no egg on anyone's face. Nothing of that sort. With regards to any sort of like out of athletic activities, if you get what I'm saying. I can also tell you with 100% certainty, because I'm seeing all the stuff here. I'm seeing all the theories and the people throwing out stuff. There's nothing regarding any sort of drug testing or anti-doping or anything like that. It is not that. I could tell you that the press conference was postponed today due to an issue that has, precluded it from happening. And so the question now is, A, are they going to pick a new day? And of course, on everyone's mind is, will this affect June 29th? As of right this second, me sitting in my chair talking about this, June 29th is still on. But, let's see what happens. It is 26, is my math correct? Yes, 26 days away. So it's all kind of developing as we speak. But as of right now, June 29th is still on. And hopefully we get more information with regards to all of it. There are several things that are important to note, in my opinion. Historically, if you've been following Conor McGregor, you know that if, in fact, he is dealing, let's just say, with an injury, you know that historically he fights through those things. Most famously against the likes of Chad Mendes back at UFC 189. He had a messed up knee. He has, fought the likes of Nate Diaz and even came back after the Diaz fight on a pretty quick turnaround to fight Eddie Alvarez at Madison Square Garden, where he wasn't quite 100%. So that is important just to bring up to some of the newer fans. But I do acknowledge that this is a different point in his life. Conor McGregor in 2015 is not Conor McGregor with a boatload of cash, with a boatload of money, with a boatload, in his bank account. It's not the same guy 9 years later. And what I mean by that is 9 years ago, you can afford to roll the dice and say, you know what? I'm climbing. This is my time. I'm in my prime. I'm trying to get to the big money. You gotta just fight through. Conor McGregor in 2024 can afford to wait 2, 3, 4 months if need be, 1 month if need be. So it's going to be very interesting to see if it's the same old Conor, or if it's what I'm trying to say here is that if something is at play, you don't need to roll the dice like you did against Chad Mendes, because let's be honest, you saw the look on his face after the Mendes fight. Just, incredible relief. The other thing that I think is really interesting about all of this, and again, all of this can change in the next 10 minutes, but I'm just sort of talking it out with all of you guys. If you look at the UFC 303 card, the current, and they actually, interesting enough, released the main card on the broadcast on Saturday. The current co-main event is Jamal Hill versus Carlos Ulberg. I thought that they would go with Ian Gary versus MVP because I think it's the biggest second fight on the card. Does that make sense? It's the second biggest fight, I should say, on the card. But, it doesn't really matter. I hope this doesn't turn into like another Bo Nickel, like, should he be on the main card or not? Who cares? All that being said, Conor versus Chandler is not a title fight, but he kind of plays by his own rules. Given their pay-per-view arrangement, they like to have and usually strive to have, barring like super, 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 special circumstances, they like to have a title on the line in the main event. Just look at last summer, last July, they resurrected the BMF title after saying that they would never use it again or have it defended again because they needed a title fight for that July pay-per-view in Salt Lake City. And so the question then becomes, at what point are you trying to make something new, or at what point are you just trying to salvage this card? There's just so much at play, man. There's so much at play, and it's going to be it's International Fight Week. There's the Hall of Fame. There's the UFC X. There's a lot at play here. And so I typed in Conor McGregor's name on Google here, and I'm seeing a lot of the headlines about UFC abruptly canceling and last minute cancellation and all that stuff. It is important to note, and I sympathize greatly with people who traveled. I know a lot of media traveled. I know fans were traveling. I know people were waiting with bated breath to witness this. He hasn't been in a press conference setting in Dublin since 2015, since March of 2015, when he was part of that world tour with Jose Aldo. There's so many people that are probably disappointed right now, and I can't even imagine how Michael Chandler is feeling. Because Michael Chandler has been sitting on this fight for well over a year, and he's probably staring at the days like a guy in prison, just like counting them off, just praying to get to June 29th. Because just think about the legacy, think about the money, think about the purse, think about the sponsorship, think about everything that is at play and that can be gained by just making it to the fight, and in the aftermath of the fight, if in fact he has a great performance and beats Conor McGregor. And so he has to be gutted right now that this wasn't happening because. Let's be honest, this was going to be a great opportunity for him. But the fight's still on. As of right this minute, the fight is still on. I just want everyone to know that there's no sort of scandalous, salacious story at play here. The full story hopefully will come out in the future. I hope you can revert back to what I was saying at the beginning of all of this regarding, information. What's on the record, what's off the record is just a game that we have to play. But I can tell you right now with 100% certainty, confirmation, that there's nothing salacious, there's nothing scandalous, there's no failed drug test, there's nothing of that sort. Things pop up, and so let's see how this story plays out. That's probably the most that we can provide. Just stare at my phone. Yeah, that's where we're at. That's where we're at this moment. All right, so let's see how this story plays out. But it's not going to be the biggest story between. I mean, it's always the biggest story. There's, and I understand why people are going there. By the way, there's the videos of him having a good time. I know Dana White addressed some of those videos at the press conference on Saturday. My impression is, we're going to find out. We're going to find out if that's a thing. Everyone that I've talked to who is, a part of that orbit is saying that, like, dialed in, revved and ready to go, kind of likes that, people are doubting him, that they're thinking he's partying, that he's out there. But ultimately the truth comes out. The truth comes out in the performance, in the fight. And so we hope that the performance and fight happens on June 29th. And we see what the way the cookie crumbles on this one. So yeah, let's talk to the guys in the back, get their reaction to this news. Press conference. By the way, are we going with postponed or are we going with canceled? I mean, I guess the official word is. Do you understand what I'm saying, Rick? I mean, you're a stickler for this stuff. If it happens at a later date, then in retrospect you could say this was postponed. But if it doesn't ever happen, then when the story is told, this press conference was canceled. Is that the best way to do it?
I would say canceled, unless they know that they're going to rebook it. Right? That is the safer thing, because if you say the word postponed, people think that it is coming, but just delayed. So,
yeah.
But at the same time, I also understand the optics. Once you say the idea of postponement leaves some hope, right? It allows people to go, oh, okay, well, it's not that bad, right? It's only postponed. When you say canceled, now you're introducing an element of, oh, we're not getting this, and why, right? The mind starts to wander a little bit. And so, I think as PR people, you often do want to say postponed rather than canceled. But in terms of that delivery on the back end that you're talking about, if this will not happen, then ultimately it was canceled. It's a tricky situation, and this is where the PR people make their money.
It's a tough one. There was so much going into this. I mean, we were thinking of doing like a watch party. There's nothing bigger than a McGregor fight. There's nothing bigger than a McGregor return fight. And so I can understand everyone being upset, and GC, I can understand everyone speculating now, right? No one,
Yeah, how can you not?
no one is speculated about more than him, right?
Yes. And just like you said, with the video that came out last week of him partying, everything like that, and just the way that he operates, yeah, it's tough to be like, why is this not happening anymore? But I'm with y'all. I mean, I feel like when would they do it again? I feel like this is just canceled. It's just not going to happen. The fight is in less than 4 weeks at this point.
Yeah,
26 days.
Yeah, because Conor historically, when he fights in Las Vegas, he's coming out early, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, if he needs to get there 3 weeks before the fight, then then the ship has sailed, and hopefully we'll just see him at the normal UFC 303 presser, and the fight is still on.
Because the truth is, it's not like this card needed this press conference. As I said last week, that's the beauty of it. It almost felt like a way to reconnect him with the crowd, with Ireland, and that's why I was thinking that Ian Gary being there would have been great as well, so that he gets the rub as well. But this thing is already a $20 million gate. It's already going to be a gigantic success. There's just a lot on the line. So I have not been told that it is 1,000% scrapped. That this idea won't resurface before the fight. It does seem like, because of the short window between now and when he would usually go out to a Las Vegas card, it does seem like the possibility of it happening is a long shot.
If I'm one of those people that paid $1,500 or $2,000 or whatever,
do people really do that?
Oh yeah, I think that's like the average ticket price.
How many do you think they sold?
No. I'm talking about to UFC 303.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant for the press. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, if you got it for free, like it's a bummer. Or if you traveled, it's definitely a bummer. But I'm saying, if I was holding like a $1,500 or $2,000 ticket to UFC 303, I would definitely be sweating a little bit. I would just be like, oh man.
And look, that's why
hotel,
100%.
Like, and you're not paying that much. No offense to him, but you're not paying that much for a Jamal Hill, Carlos Ulberg main event.
Yeah.
You're paying that price. You're paying that premium for a Conor McGregor fight.
And that's why I bring up, like, there's no drug test drama. There's no, because you're done. Or legal drama, most likely done. Although there was once a time where John Jones was in an orange jumpsuit like 3 weeks before he fought OSP. But
hopefully this is just a footnote, and fight goes off.
Yeah. Golly.
And the Mac is back.
I was
pretty excited for this one, though. I have to say. I mean, I was pretty hyped up. I think a lot was going to come from it. 10,000 people for a press conference, just him and Chandler up there. I thought it was going to be great.
On the heels of 302, right, with Islam fighting and Dustin, two people that he's connected with.
Oh yeah,
it just would have. Yeah.
It would have been fantastic, and it felt like when he did that kick stream or whatever, and he was just talking shit about everyone. It felt like he was kind of getting warmed up for this press conference. I thought he might have some good lines up there.
This is us looking into our crystal ball. This is us just having a good old time. June 29th. Is he fighting?
I say yeah. I think I went to you guys at the very beginning of the year. I took that random bet from that book that was offering will Conor McGregor fight in 2024 at like plus 200. I still got faith. I think he fights on June 29th.
Is it just the one fight?
He just has to get into the octagon.
Once? Wow.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it wasn't like a 1.5.
Oh, no. I wouldn't even touch that. But I think he does it. Yep, June 29th, International Fight Week. That goes from a great card to like that I think any Conor card is going to do 1 million pay-per-view buys to tough sledding for International Fight Week.
Well, now we're just playing the speculation game, so no one take.
Of course.
But like, if for whatever reason that fight can't happen, I'm fascinated to know what they do. Yeah.
No title fights?
No title. I mean,
Mayra Buena Silva, Macy Chazon as the co-main event.
Is Jamal Hill fighting for the interim belt?
Interim belt?
Yeah, you make.
You say they put the interim belt on the line, even though Alex Pereira is holding.
I mean,
won it 2.5 months ago at that time.
No, of course not. I just don't know what you do. Like, we're just playing a fun game here, right? We're just playing a fun game here. Okay. Pantoja, I mean, just fought, and I don't think that suffices with all due respect. Is Sean O'Malley fighting on 2-3 weeks notice? No, most likely the Sphere.
No.
Ilya Taporia going to do that? I
No.
would be shocked. Makhachev just fought. Leon Edwards, Manchester. DDP fighting on 3 or 4 weeks notice? I would be shocked. And also the plan is for Perth. Alex Pereira is always good for a quick turnaround. I mean, could you imagine?
What would they do then?
Old Faithful.
Boot Jamal Hill out and make him fight Carlos Ulberg?
Fuck, crazy.
You just like, well, what do you do? Who's his opponent?
Yo, by the way,
I guess you get Yuri on short notice.
Pereira headlining 300 and International Fight Week, both like saving the UFC, makes him god status. But I know everyone wants. We're just messing. John Jones is not fighting. Tom Aspinall is not fighting. Grasso and Shevchenko they're not going to screw up tough. They can't have the fight in the middle of the season. When does that start, by the way? Doesn't it start like this week or next week?
I want to say it's already started.
No, there's no way. If it already started, that's extremely depressing because It can't.
What season is this?
It can't be. No, there's no chance in hell. I refuse to believe it has already started.
Oh no, it starts tomorrow.
There you go.
Mark your calendars. Yeah. We got to be there. I will be there in front of the television at I'm gonna assume 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah, bummer about Tough Hang not getting renewed. That's tough.
I'm sorry.
Tough to swallow. Yeah. We fought for it. We fought tooth and nail.
Zhang Weili not like I don't know what they.
I mean, we are talking. We are 26 days away.
They have pulled rabbits out of their hat, but here's the thing. Again, let's just say we are talking about Michael Chandler needing an opponent, right? Let's just say, even that. Like, who's he fighting?
Nobody that can.
Right.
Nobody that can step into that same status.
Right.
Max Holloway for the BMF belt.
That ain't the equivalent.
I mean, there's no equivalent. I'm just
that's
I'm trying to work with what we got here.
There's nothing to work with. There is no equivalent. Scrap the plans. Reset. Restart. You cannot salvage.
You would reset everything. You would just scrap International Fight Week altogether.
Do something else. Yeah.
By the way, when you say do something else, are you saying like no fight on that day?
You could, if the expectations are that it's going to be an equivalent for Conor McGregor, I don't think it's a horrible idea.
They do everything in their power. There's so much at stake with the Hall of Fame.
Sure. I mean,
the UFCX. They make chicken salad out of chicken shit all the time.
If the scenario that you've laid out happens, right, where and again, this is speculation. You're just saying, what if Michael Chandler needs an opponent for June 29th? You can do something and offer. You're gonna have to offer refunds, right? Because the people who paid prices for those tickets are not paying prices for Michael Chandler versus anybody. Let's call it Max Holloway, as GC suggested, that are equivalent to Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler. So right off the bat, you're resetting monetarily right there. That $20 million gate no longer is $20 million gate. You have options there. You refund the money. Now you are back on sale. Now the tickets are sold and you get whatever price you get for that event. And now it's just any other event. Or you just say, hey, we're going to keep this intact and we're going to move it to whenever this fight potentially does happen, if that is a scenario that they run into. So yeah, I don't think it's a terrible option to take that event, move it, and do it another time. I don't think it's a terrible option to replace it, but the money is gone. That money will not be the same. So you're resetting it anyway. You're now selling a completely new event. Those tickets will not be sold the same way.
Yeah, let's see.
This sounds like a logistical nightmare.
Yeah, let's see.
Let's just hope the fight takes place on.
The presser was such a good idea.
This is the gift and the curse of Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor can get you a $20 million gate, but when if a scenario happens where Conor McGregor, you have to facsimile something that is equivalent to Conor McGregor. The bad news is there is no equivalent to Conor McGregor. He's the damn show. So
1,000%. But I will just add two things. Number one, they've never been in a position where they've had to cancel a card because of Conor McGregor.
No, yeah.
So I'm
you
just
laid
saying
it out very nicely. Conor shows up. That is Conor's thing.
1,000%. He has always shown up. So it's not like, hey, you can't trust this guy.
No.
And yes, to your point, usually when he's fighting, it's not the deepest card of all time. This is a solid one, but there's There's no co-main that you can just bump up. And if you're Michael Chandler, like, you've waited so freaking long.
Man,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? You've just waited so freaking long. And so
I said the people with the $1,500 tickets are probably sweating.
oh man.
Mike Chandler's got to be sweating right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why am I not in Dublin doing this press conference? Is this fight going to happen in 26 days?
It's gigantic. It's gigantic. So let's see. So, I think there's good news and bad news here. Obviously, the bad news is that it didn't happen today, and things are still up in the air, and not a lot of people are saying a lot of things. But I think the good news is for anyone who was thinking that there was some sort of drug test or some sort of like drama, legal, whatever, I could tell you with certainty that that's not the case at the moment. So let's see how this plays out. Obviously, a big bummer that the presser didn't happen today, but ultimately, what everyone wants, UFC, Conor Chandler, the fans, is for the fight to happen on June 29th, and we can all kind of witness that, and everyone can move on. Let's see how it plays out. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it very much. Hey, if you like this video, give us the old thumbs up. Subscribe as well. You could get many more of these videos on the channel, so please do that. We would love you forever if you did so.